Alright, Pathfinder kick continues. Today, I'm going to get into the Bestiary 2. So, this is pretty much the only one I have for in a sense, the monster manuals for Pathfinder. So, with this one, what's good about this one is that it actually gets into some of a lot of uncommon stuff. So, or I should say, uncommon monsters. So, it definitely has the table of contents and appendixes in the back. And what it does, it gives you the whole list of all the monsters alphabetically that it's going to be going over in this book. So just like the monster manual in Dungeons and Dragons is alphabetically, so it does give you an introduction on the idea of the whole concept, and it gives the whole table on the different types of monster icons and what kind of monster it is. So like for instance, like whether it's undead, like vampires, skeletons, zombies, outsiders, sort of like devils and demons, magical beasts, humanoids, dragons, pretty much to help explain them as well. And of course, it also gives the different types of typical climates that you're going to find them in. And so this initial section, first few pages, goes into all the details that you'll need, their speed, weaknesses. You can see space reach, or in the typical if you're using terrain and tiles and miniatures and stuff, like a 1 foot, a 5 foot by 5 foot square. Pretty much like a medium character fits in one of those, like any abilities they have, and of course, and then it jumps right into all the monsters. So to save some time, I'm not going to go through all of them, but because it has goes through them alphabetically, and of course, like I said, they have it's not necessarily your average ones, like your goblins, orcs, and ogres, and mind flayers and stuff like that. So these are kind of your, in a sense, your odd ones that you're going to find, and as you can see, Catoblepus is kind of one of the kind of odd ones, and the centipede, and of course they also have if anyone's familiar with the cryptids, the good old chupacabra is one of the cryptids, if people are familiar with that in real life. And of course, they also get into different types of daemons instead of demons, of course just different pronunciation for demons. So, and of course they also get into different kinds of dragons. So instead of your typical chromatic dragons, red, green, blue, white, black dragons, and metallic dragons gold and silver and brass, bronze, and the like. So this gives you non-traditional dragons as well. So cloud, you can see here, the cloud dragon. So it definitely gives you it gives you even the freaky type of dragons with the primal dragons called the Umbral. So it goes into some of the Drake Forest, and of course it does have elementals that you can get into as well. So this is just a quick rundown. The movie's Gremlins. Of course, you could kind of differentiate between the Gremlins from the movie and this and everything. So different type of gremlin. So using pop culture too, you're not just limited to stuff in here. So they also do animals and stuff, and so they do have some that are in the monster manual for D&D, you can see here, the hippogriff. So it's not just totally outlandish stuff and everything. So they do have even though a lot of these are in a sense uncommon, you can find a lot of these stuff in the D&D monsters manual. So of course, like anything, you're going to have some crossover with Pathfinder from D&D and vice versa and everything, because Pathfinder and D&D are pretty much the top two fantasy RPGs that are out there. So as you can see, you can take even sharks and give them that demonic type of monstrosity look and everything with the nightshades here. So, and of course, you can also use these bats and everything for maybe you're running Curse Curse of Straw type of campaign. You can do like this, something like this with the bats and everything. So, and of course, it gives you all different kinds of ideas. Like you can see here, ogrekin. So not just your typical ogres and stuff. So like, and of course, like with the different terrains that like you see like in the beginning, like with the different symbols and stuff. Like you can get into like aquatic settings and everything, so you could be running like a pirate themed campaign using some of that stuff that you find in here. And Gliploth, of course I'm probably been butchering the name of this, and of course my pronunciations, I always suck at pronunciations, so like just bear with me with that and everything. So like what comes to mind with the Quicklin here, instead you could use as like an alternative, like the Tieflin type of deal. So like you can come up with like ideas for like alternatives and everything. So like and of course like you can also come up with like ideas for spiders and stuff, sort of like Shelob from Lord of the Rings. So like the ideas that you can get with like these monsters, like yeah, good old Wizard of the Oz Scarecrow has gone AWOL type of deal. So like getting back to like you can have like any kind of like limitless ideas with like with using these monsters, or maybe pulling from like pop culture and kind of like molding them and modifying them to like a campaign that you're going to be like quite possibly like any type of campaign that you run. So like good old like the demonic bear, what comes to mind with the Bestiary here. So like that, of course, like I think that's what's great about this one, is that it gives you all these like unique different like different types of like monsters that don't necessarily like you find like in your traditional monster manuals, especially with like Dungeons and Dragons, because like usually Dungeons and Dragons like is notorious for just having pretty much like the most common ones that you use. And of course just like the Chupacabra gets into the Wendigo, which is another one of those cryptids and everything. So like I said, you can basically pull from like our modern world pop culture, even like a cryptid. So like with the Chupacabra and the Wendigo here, you can also pull from like stuff like the Mothman and like the Jersey Devil. And of course, if people are familiar with Lake Champlain, like here in North America, Lake Champlain has its basically its North American version of the Loch Ness Monster. So you could use something like that. And like of course the whole idea of the great white whale, even using the novels and everything, like Moby Dick. So you can pull from like not just pop culture, but from literature as well and everything. So like I mentioned, like the Lord of the Rings. And so like I said, this goes basically like alphabetically, so I'm only getting into like a portion of the monsters here. So like, because if I go through all of them here, then I would probably be here for like a good like 40-50 minutes just talking about each one individually and everything. So like then like you can see like here Independences, like actually starts off with you can actually create your own monsters. So like for instance, like showing the Wendigo and the Chupacabra, like I mentioned in like Lake Champlain's North American version of the Loch Ness Monster. You can in a sense create your own in a sense cryptids and everything, calling on inspiration from like our modern contemporary real world ideas. And like showing the great white whale, you can pull from literature and everything. And of course it gives like the whole like statistics by like CR, which is challenge rating. So like basically like hit point points per challenge. So like basically like your lower CRs would be your typical ones like goblins and orcs and stuff, all the way up to like your higher CRs would be like in a sense like your ancient like red dragon, or like an ancient gold dragon type of deal. So like it gives you idea like the whole concept on how to create your own monsters. And of course it gives you universal rules like on how to do like ability damage, and like maybe they have like a drain, sort of like a vampire sucking your blood, the types of visions, and like the different like ideas for like different abilities that they could have, like breath weapons here usually is synonymous with dragons and everything. So like each dragon has like a different type of like breath weapons. So like the red dragon has fire, the blue dragon might have lightning type of deal. So like you can use this stuff to kind of like further make your own and everything. And of course, like you got like a channel resistance and like change shape. So maybe like you run like create a monster that is more inclined to be like a druid or like a ranger type class, and they have the ability to change form or change shape just like the druid would. Different types of abilities that you can like call up and everything to be able to make unique monsters and everything. So like that's probably like the two things that stand out with this book is like the ability to create your own, plus like all the in a sense uncommon ones, monsters that like especially some of the ones that I showed, especially like I'll mention again the cryptids, because that's something I'm into. I like your research and stuff like that, like the Wendigo, the Chupacabra and stuff like that. So like I don't necessarily spend as much time research and stuff like that, but definitely have an interest. So like you can take your interest into stuff like that and use these tables and everything to kind of recreate stuff as well. And of course, you can also pull on to like other stuff like the comics and like just like anything like role playing. That pretty much sky's the limit, and you're limitless in like your ability to do whatever in the role playing game. Your only limitation is your imagination. And so you can see like how this goes very in depth on like different types of abilities that you go with these glossaries and everything. So like and then of course it also goes into depth on like the creature types. So like it breaks it down. So like if you want to do like an animal, so maybe you like want to use your typical animals like wolves and bears and like maybe tigers and lions and stuff, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! It gives you ideas on how to be able to like use the different types that you find, especially in here. So like maybe you want to run like a souped up version of like skeletons and zombies and everything. So like you can use like the creature type here to kind of give you ideas to like, okay, well, how do I use this to kind of expand upon that as well. So and it goes into even subtypes for stuff and everything for like different, like you can see like aquatic, you could need mountainous, or like the archon would be like maybe like doing different types of celestial subtypes and everything. So and I'll reiterate that like your pretty much only limitation is pretty much your imagination. So that basically leaves up pretty much the door wide open for you to do just about anything. So and of course it also gives you ideas of like cohorts. So like maybe you're making the big bad evil guy, and like you can use different types of monsters for their cohorts, or as you can see the animal companions. So it just even expands further upon that. So like, and of course it also breaks down like into like the CRs as well. So like as your characters level up, you can get ideas for like throwing bigger badder monsters at them. And so like and of course it also gives you the terrain. So you can like you can sit here and probably spend like hours creating your own monsters and everything just using like these appendixes and everything. So like it gives you even more fuel for your campaigns and everything. So and of course this is the end of this book and everything. So then got like the kind of a ad for the Ultimate Magic book. It's one of the ones I don't have yet. So like this, as you can see, is like Pathfinder's Bestiary 2. So this is one that I was able to pick up over the past year or so. I haven't seen in my local stores yet the first one, so I might eventually pick up that one and everything. I'll have to wait and see. So I'll probably like in my usual trip to like a local gaming store that I go to, I'll probably see if like I can quite possibly get the Bestiary 1 and go over that. So this is pretty much to continue the kick for Pathfinder, and so this is like another addition on that you can use to create, as you can see, monsters and everything to expand your campaign in Pathfinder.